Welcome to Alive Almonds, a platform for soulful conversation with business leaders. Today, we will talk about wellness with Mr. Satyajit Mittra. He is a head of operations at India's one of the biggest healthcare organization, Apollo Hospital. Before we get started, I would like to thank our partners, ITM University, Gwalior, Institute of Technology and Management, Gwalior, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, our gaming partner, Go Games, supply chain, Lovi Global, and lastly, media partner, The Virtual Crunch, for your generous help and support. I would like to request Mr. Abhinav Jain, our co-founder of Almond and A-Technos, to take it further.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you for introducing. And, without further ado, I'll just quickly introduce our guest for the day. And Mr. Satyajit Mittra doesn't need any introduction. And of course, with well over 28 years of experience in hospital, pharmaceutical, healthcare, and operations industry, sales and management in global and Indian companies like Eli Lilly, Baxter, Alcon, Microlabs, and Apollo hospitals spread across different geographical areas. His expertise lies in marketing, sales, management, hospital operations, strategic planning and market development with new product launches, trainings and coaching certifications, account managements in large private sectors and government and semi-government hospitals. And especially he worked with hospitals in areas of ophthalmology, anesthesia, and ICU specialists and diabetes specialists. And today, this conversation is going to be very exciting because we are going to talk about something which is extremely interesting. So I would like to invite Mr. Satyajit Mittra on the stage. And with that, can we have Mr. Mittra on the stage? Hi, good afternoon, Satyajit sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Abhinav. I'm absolutely fine and I'm delighted to be with you today.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. And I just want to highlight this session is very important because ITM University has recently, or ITM Group has recently also opened their hospitals. It's called ITM Hospitals in Gwalior, and it's one of the best hospitals out there. And I know that you have been into healthcare industry, so there's a lot of excitement among the students and a lot of people who are watching us online on various platforms. Satyajit sir, I want to actually especially talk about something very unconventional today. Okay, and normally this Alive Almonds, the session that we have hosted, there is a chirpiness, there is a casualness around these conversations that we have with leaders like yourself, and with the kind of experience that you bring. I think you have seen the practicalities meets the theory, almost in every space. One thing that I particularly wanted to talk about is that, general public, they feel that hospitals and doctors are charging for unnecessary diagnostics and precautions. Okay, that's a very common thought. Could be multiple reasons around it. There could be multiple, different people have different opinion. But as an insider, what's your take on this? And what do you think about this?
I can say it's a myth as well as to some extent it's true. True in the sense that there is a cost involved, and I mean I'm sure you will agree that quality goes hand in hand with cost. Anything that we have to deliver today up to the expectations, not only as a customer, as a patient, what is our commitment to the patient? If we have to really go by it by ethical modes, we definitely there is a cost involved in that. And if you look at it, this is where probably today we need a lot of support from the government, because if the government is able to support the private sector, and then we can have a PPP model as well, in which we both the government and the private sector hospitals work hand in hand, and government is able to incentivize, have taxation policies, SOPs in this healthcare segment. That is where probably it will be helpful in reducing the cost, etc., and the cost burden to the patients. Because today in India, if you look at it, the out of pocket expenses largely there in healthcare, unlike countries in the US and in other developed countries where a lot of the cost of the healthcare is borne by the government. So there it is a different scenario, but unfortunately till now we don't have such a support system or a model where you don't have to pay out of your pocket. So that is, yes, you are right when you say that the common man definitely has to pay a lot. But then, as corporate hospitals, we have to maintain a certain level of uh, delivery of care, delivery of medical services, the cost that is involved in the infrastructure, the cost that is involved in the manpower, the equipments, the frequency with which this is being maintained, monitored, so as to deliver the results that are required. So yes, that is where the money gets spent in.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. But there is also a misconception, like, a lot of people think that इसकी क्या जरूरत थी, because हमारे इंडिया का एक बहुत अच्छा कॉन्सेप्ट है, घर घर डॉक्टर है, ओके, और हर किसी को कुछ ना कुछ नुस्खा एक पता है किसी भी प्रॉब्लम का, they always know, and we never go into that mode where preventive healthcare can actually solve a lot of these problems, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But one common myth that also came on, and especially COVID has changed the way how we have started seeing things, and pandemic has affected the lives of people, right? And I'm sure I am going to ask you those questions which, as an insider, you have seen. So we all have seen the chaos out here for last 2 years, and God forbid, you never know for how long it will go. And what do you think actually, what are the key uh, things that particularly affected people's life, due to COVID? And of course, one big thing could be the health and awareness about health and everything. But what are your thoughts on that?
See, I think the COVID in the last 2 years has really changed the way of life. In fact, I would say
Yeah,
it is no longer the same. I mean, today, once we had the first wave.
yeah,
If you remember 2 years back in 2020,
yeah,
when we had the first wave, it was the first time when the lockdown happened. It was happening for the first time for all of us.
correct, correct.
And it was kind of a 1 week or 15 days when everything, offices,
Do you
shops,
remember 24th March 2020? It's 24th March today.
exactly, exactly. You're
So,
right. You're right. Absolutely. So that was, in the first 15 days or so, it was more like a holiday mood in which the people were. That, oh, wow.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
then, as it progressed, and reality started to chip in, that is where the scenario changed. I mean, that is where the
yeah,
concepts of work from home started. That is where the offices
correct.
started thinking
Yeah.
that how we can have the productivity still
Mm.
going on, the businesses. And of course, we know that as it continued into the year of next year, 2021, and the second wave devastated
Yeah,
all across the world. And in that aspect, I would say today our doctors, our healthcare system, and our staff, the government, did
yeah,
excellently well in this segment if you
correct.
compare it with the other so-called developed nations. So we
Yeah,
did much better in managing the pandemic, whether it was in terms of the curbs, the lockdowns, or also later on in the later part when it came to the manufacturing of vaccines. We are the world leaders. I mean, when
hmm.
did we know that there was a company called Serum Institute?
Yeah. I never heard about it. I mean, pardon my knowledge, but and
Yeah,
suddenly
so
everyone
that's how the pandemic. Yeah, there was a lot of loss, business loss, lives lost. But then, if you have to say what are the things that we took as a key takeaway, how did we move on? Yes, I think we as humans are quite adaptive in nature, and we keep evolving, and that is where probably our country, the youth today, is very very matured, I would say, for their age, and also the way we have evolved and evolving is humongous. And that is where we had so many companies coming up, not only to directly into healthcare, but if you see to support the healthcare system, people who were there in their house, not able to go out because of COVID, or they were quarantined. How the food delivery chain happened, how the logistics worked in that, how
hmm.
medicines were delivered, not only just out. So a lot of startups came up with that. People got so much support from the technology that was there, people who served. So
Hmm.
it was a huge change. And today, if you look at it, it's a hybrid model that we all see in future. Today it's no longer going to be the same model probably.
Correct.
It's all the hybrid model wherever work has to happen, where people have to come down to offices or factories. manufacturing units, yes, people will be there, but then those lot of work which can be managed from home will be done from home. So this hybrid model will be there depending on which industry it is, what kind of things are there. Even if the complete lockdown is, so April 1 onwards, probably we would see that full lockdown is over. I mean, there's nothing such as such like a curb or a lockdown COVID restriction.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it has impacted the lives. And if you're asking me how it impacted the lives from the healthcare segment, I would say majority, whatever losses have happened, but majority of the people who survived and who lived through it have
Hmm.
gone through a lot of mental agony, trauma, and a lot of people. The most thing that got affected was the mental health, because people
Hmm.
were concerned about their family, friends, relatives. They are not able to
Correct.
meet each other. As human, we always would like to meet each other, hug each other. So where is that hug gone?
Hmm.
You are not social distancing. So
Yeah.
everything, so all that had an impact in the mind. Ultimately it was in the mind that got impacted, and the scenario changed a lot. So a lot of mental
And
health issues came up.
I think, yeah, I was just adding, coming to that point itself, like there are two types of health that we have to, look at it. One is a physical health, definitely, how good we are as a body and fitness and everything. And there is a lot of, and we will talk about the non-communicable diseases, like you mentioned about, these things just develop because of the stress and a lot of those things. And it's quite interesting because the way how we see more things coming in picture in terms of what kind of seriousness that the stress and all of these things, all of these phenomena put into your body, which then eventually become physical, so from mental to physical, so the transition is happening. But what I've seen, that preventive health is an area on which Apollo, and particularly I know about you and your team, have been working very actively for last couple of years. What is that? A lot of people. I lived in US, Satyajit, for almost 8.5 years. Worked with some of the brightest, along with the brightest teams and minds across the country. In US, preventive is one such big thing that every company has their own internal HR goals or people goals, that their people should be mentally well, very much fit, and they focus lot of energy on making sure that their people are happy and healthy. In India, this there is a lot of scope for this particular thing, and people, especially from the background that we come from, right? We have always believed that as long as I look good, I'm healthy inside. But actually, that's not the case, right? And we have seen such, God forbid, instances in past where a lot of people who were healthy and everything, and suddenly something, devastating happened. What's that preventive health thing that you guys are talking about? And if you could share anything which is available for public.
Well, thanks for bringing up that point, Abhinav. And I will break your question into two parts. One, as you said, what is preventive health, or what is it that we are doing? And the
Hmm.
second is, as you gave the example of US, how every corporate there insists on having a preventive health and they to their
Hmm.
employees.
Yeah.
So both the things. So first of all, what is preventive health? If you ask me today, yes, you are right. When people say that I am fit,
Yeah.
I am good, and I don't have any fever, I don't have any disease for the last 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is.
Hmm.
So why should I unnecessarily go for a checkup of it? And the coming to your first question, where you said that people feel that hospitals unnecessarily ask for diagnostic test, or they focus on like a lot of unnecessary things.
Yeah.
So this is related to both your queries.
Yeah.
So I will give an example. Like you have a car, right? What do? You go for a health preventive health checkup of the car, and that is called the annual
Yeah.
maintenance.
Yeah.
So your provider, service provider, calls
Yeah.
you and say, hello, it's due, please come for car servicing. So
Yeah.
just we have to think our body like that, and the body is much more beyond a vehicle, as you know very simple.
Yeah.
It's much more complicated. So when we pay attention to the servicing of our car at least once a year, why we do that? Because we know that will take care of any unfortunate event or anything or a breakdown. So let me just see, even if it is running all fine, but still let me go take it to the garage, maintain
Yes.
it, prime it, proper it, and then come back. And I am ready to spend anywhere from, say 3,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees on that, and I
True.
don't care about it. And
True.
I know it is important.
Yeah.
So this is something which we are doing not just because the government is asking us to do. It
Hmm.
is our interest that yes, I should get my car serviced. Similarly, that is the kind of thing that is the attitude and that is the way forward today, especially after the pandemic, that you need to take care of your health.
Hmm.
And as they say, no, the typical thing, "Jaan hai to jahan hai," and that is what
Yeah.
it is. And this is more underlined today in the scenario of post-pandemic, and people have
Yeah.
become very conscious. At least some sensitivity, some consciousness have come up, which is one thing
Yeah.
which has come up after the pandemic. So preventive health is something where the focus is. So uh, our idea is and our objective is that people should not fall ill. They should not come to the hospital for to get themselves treated. Rather, how can we avoid to get hospitalized? How can we remain healthy? So for
Hmm.
that, definitely you need a checkup. You need to know that your body is working fine, and if there is something wrong, yes, we are there to support you, to treat you, to take care of you, even after you have done your health checkup.
Hmm.
So it
Hmm.
is very crucial that to know that what is your insight. As you said, Abhinav, people think I am fit. So a person who is going to the gym regularly or is a marathoner, that person may say, "What is the need for me being going to for a health checkup?"
True. True.
But fitness is not equal to good health. That is the big thing that we have to break in today in people's mind, that fitness is not equal to good health. There are so many cases you have
Hmm.
seen in the social media. Young executive, 36
Yeah.
year old,
Yeah.
goes to the gym, goes to the gym regularly,
Yeah.
is a teetotaler, non-smoker,
True.
vegetarian, and suddenly he collapses one day.
Yeah.
He's gone, and his family, friends, and everybody, colleagues, are absolutely shocked because they say that this guy was the fittest guy we
Yeah.
have seen. He is a non-smoker, teetotaler, vegetarian, timely, everything getting done, but still this guy was suddenly popped up. And when you
Hmm.
know that yes, this is the kind of examples which really shake you up, and that is why we say that you don't know actually what is happening inside your body. So let's get a checkup done and see that okay, everything is fine, working fine. So that is why it's all the more important now after pandemic, to be more
Hmm.
healthy. I would not say healthy. So WHO, for example, WHO's definition of health is a complete physical state of well-being, mental, physical, psychological, in every sense.
Hmm. Okay. एक बात बताइए सर. Okay, just as I'm thinking about it, like very casually and very as a normal human being, what we have to think. हम सबसे ज्यादा डरते क्यों हैं जाने के लिए? क्योंकि हमें डर ये लगता है कि अभी कोई बीमारी निकल आएगी, and then we will have to pay probably tens of thousands of dollars for all these tests done, and then this is always for life. And by the way, there is also one survey which was done by a university. I'll have to just find out where the source is, but they said that as an average, in every Indian believes that they have something problematic within their body. It's not just कि हम सिर्फ फिट हैं. ऐसा बहुत कम लोग सोचते हैं. ज्यादा लोग सोचने वाले ये हैं जिनको पता है कि मुझे कुछ ना कुछ है इस बॉडी के अंदर. शायद किसी का कोलेस्ट्रॉल ज्यादा होगा या किसी का वेट ज्यादा होगा लाइक मी, और किसी का डायबिटीज होगा. पीपल थिंक लाइक दैट. ओके. और एक ये बहुत बड़ा वहम है जिसके कारण लोग टेस्ट करवाने से डरते हैं, right? And preventive health is such a big barrier there, okay, which is where the cause why people don't want to go for these yearly tests or monthly tests and 6 month and all, which is very open in the West. Like in US, there you have to get a yearly checkup done. You have to get some complete test, and companies make it mandatory. sometimes I was working for a startup in the US which recently got acquired by a big firm in the West. They had this policy that within every 11 months or something like that, you have to get yourself fully tested and checked up and everything, right? And then you also need to make sure, of course they don't want to see your reports and everything, make sure that you sign a checkbox or something which says yes, I've got this done, right? So that if in future something happens to you, they want to make sure that they have a complete history of their health of their employees, to make sure that they can treat it quickly, immediately, with all of that data. And by the way, there is a company that I know who has ran a startup out of this idea, that how do you make sure that your employees are getting tested and checked up, and they are going for these health tests, etc., regularly. And if a company can reward these tests and all, of course in US the payer and provider system is so huge, and insurance ecosystem is so penetrated, that everyone needs to have insurance. Without that you can't actually survive the medical costs, etc. So there is a massive opportunity for startups as well to come into that focus area, and then build something which is probably something has not done before, or anything like that. So my a question, or probably your suggestions for you would be, you know do you think there is a bigger opportunity now in India, especially in the healthcare space, for startups? And what do you think the real barrier for startups to get into the healthcare space is? And this question primarily is targeted for the students who have joined, or the young entrepreneur, wannabe entrepreneurs who wants to do something. Because जब हम healthcare की बात करते हैं, तो we always feel कि अरे healthcare के लिए you need to have licenses and millions of dollars of funds, and then clinical testing and blah 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 blah. But I think technology is now going to play a very important role. Like I've heard about a startup who's giving you 60% of your heart related tests done through the watch, the Apple Watch, right? And that's an amazing thing, because Apple Watch is already clinically certified, or whatever they have done. I'm just saying the startups can actually leverage a lot of that insights and make it done. So what's your thoughts on that, Satyajit?
Yeah, I think Abhinav, you have touched a very good point, and this is where the huge opportunity lies. So first, coming to your point of that, a lot of people have the mental barrier that if I go for a preventive health,
Yeah.
something will come up. So it's just like the story of the cat and the pigeon. So the one once the pigeon
Correct.
sees the cat and they close their eyes and thinking that cat is gone. So
Correct.
exactly that is what is our mental setup.
Hmm.
Most of
Hmm.
us say that अरे जाएंगे तो कुछ ना कुछ detect हो जाएगा, and then I will have to restrict my food or a lifestyle. I have to modify my lifestyle to manage that. So better till the time I get something, let I am okay till now. So till something happens, it's okay, fine. Let me continue. So that's something which the person knows heart of heart is not right,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But still he avoids.
Yeah.
And it is not. It's again a myth that the hospital is trying to find out something. How will a hospital try to find out something? If your body
Hmm.
has something wrong, the equipment is there, the diagnostic tool is there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can go anywhere. It's not that you go to the a particular place. You go anywhere and get your test done. But ultimately, what are you going to do with that? You just keep the
Correct.
test aside and say, I will just continue the way I am, or I'm going to modify my lifestyle, make
Correct.
changes. So that is
Hmm.
where what has to come, as a as a society, it has to come. I mean, it's not something that a hospital or a company or a corporate can push. But yes, on
Hmm.
your second part, as you said about US, where the corporates make it mandatory for their employees to undergo a health check. Yes, something like that definitely in our country would be very, very beneficial.
Yes.
So today we have the capability to show to any corporate, provided we have their data, they get their health checkup done, we have the data, we can show to them that what percentage of their employees have NCDs, which is
Wow.
non-communicable diseases.
Hmm.
How many of them, or what percentage have at least one comorbidity? How many of them are diabetic? How many of them have hypertension? How many of them have dyslipidemia? So all those things, today we have the technology, we have the bandwidth, and we have the entire support system in place for any organization that comes to us, and we can do that for them. And then that, so there are very surprising statistics that comes, that
Yeah.
okay, 70% of my employees are having non-communicable diseases, and non-communicable diseases are the ones which are the major cause of death
Hmm.
across the world. It is 70% of NCDs are the reasons for death across the world. And NCDs are what? Basically your diabetes, heart, cancer, hypertension, and some chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, and
Hmm.
mental health and obesity. These are the diseases which can be prevented, and that's the positive side of it. While on the other side, these are a huge burden to the government, to everybody, to the medical sector. But then these are the ones which can be prevented, and that is where there's a huge opportunity for startups as well. So today, the
Hmm.
barrier is not only about the mental barrier of people not going for a checkup; it is also the convenience part. Today, everything you want at your home. You said you pick up your mobile, you just order like a Swiggy. You order food. You
Correct.
similarly want your health also to be taken care. Okay, if
Correct.
not that extent, if not to that extent, we do a lot of a lot of research is happening, and a lot of startups are there who already are into this space to provide data, transfer data from the home to the hospital system, where the doctors analyze and give it back as a feedback. So the telehealth services is one sector where uh, we are we have progressed a lot, and we probably lead the country in that. And a lot of development has happened in telehealth services, where somebody there in you know up there in Ladakh can get a specialist opinion who is sitting in Chennai.
Hmm. Correct.
So that was not possible some time back. So that has been made possible with a lot of technology and a lot of data flow, a lot of AI and ML involved into it. So the doctor sees the image, he sees the image, he gives the guidance, and he directs the doctor there, way back 3,000 kilometers, and there in the mountains where he is treating his patient. So a lot of those technologies are already there, already it is being explored, and it is a lot of progress has already happened in that sector.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Very interesting.
so for startups, yes, we there has to be an idea where you connect, how easily you can connect an average man to the healthcare professional. How you we have
Hmm.
to think of making things easy for the common person. That's how we have to think. Easy and affordable. This is the key word probably, which will push people to okay, take up, go for a preventive health.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. Sir, you talked about preventive health, and I know that we have spoken multiple times about the work that Apollo family is doing on preventive health, and you are also leading that from the front. Give us some more details about, like, what is it? Is it an app? Is it a platform? What is it? And how do you think it's actually going to help people at a mass scale?
Okay, yeah. So it's a combination of everything. So see, unlike a typical health checkup, which people know of, is that it's just a set of blood tests. That's all, and you
Correct.
get a report. And the doctor, maybe you just see a doctor, or sometimes you don't see a doctor as well, and and you compare your parameters versus the normal. That's it. So
Yeah.
that's what a idea by and large people have about health checkup. So we are not talking here about health checkup. We are talking here more about, we have moved from health checkups to program, and we have now a very robust program in place, where right before the person comes into the hospital, there is a health risk assessment that we do, and that is something where he logs on and fills the form, and we come to know about his entire medical history, about his current health conditions, and through that there is AI, a lot of AI involved in that, which throws up and customizes the diagnostic tests that have to be done for the person, because we believe that every human being is different. It cannot be the same set of tests, because there's a lot
Correct.
of hereditary genetic things involved. So this AI powered tool helps in customizing the sort of diagnostic tests or concerns that is required for the person. So he, before coming to the hospital itself, this information is available. And then,
Hmm.
of course, it goes through the diagnostic set of tests that are recommended by the doctor. And
Hmm.
and then after the report comes, we just don't leave it like that. Once the report
Hmm.
comes, there's a proper expert opinion on that, a one-to-one consultation, and then a follow-up plan on how to go and achieve this. So we will say it's not about just a test. We will say that, okay, we want to make you healthy, we want to make you happy. So to achieve that, we will also follow up with you and tell you how to go about it and do it. What are the lifestyle modifications that you have to do? What are the diet changes that you have to do? How you have to tweak your sleep pattern. If that person needs some extra consultation with some specialist, that also is being arranged. So it's a complete, end to end care. That is where our objective is, so that it's not just a set of tests that we do. We Right from predictive, so we have developed predictive risk scores also. So AI based CVD scores, which is the cardiovascular disease scores. We have AI based pre-diabetes score, AI based COPD scores. So these are work in progress. Already two of them have been developed, and so a person can know that what is my risk of getting a heart disease in the next 10 years. So this predictive analysis with the help of AI helps us to know, okay, to so if the person has to change his lifestyle, he will do it now, so that he
Hmm.
does not end up having, a heart attack, or at least take all possible measures to prevent a heart attack. So those are
Hmm.
the areas where we are working, and already it's in place. So
Hmm.
this is something which is new. This is something which is not currently available anywhere, and that is where people will see that benefit, that what is the use of having a preventive health, enroll into a preventive health program, rather than just, you know be laid back and say that, okay, we will see, wait and watch. So it's always a
Hmm.
proactive thing that will help, and that is where we are working, and it's an end-to-end program.
Great, great. And is it like, is it available for public so that they can procure, buy, or is it only exclusive program for some specific set of people?
It
How
is
is
it
it?
is No, no. So it is available for public. It is available for corporates, and
Hmm.
we are more than happy to help people know what it is and how to go about it and what are the benefits of it.
Right. So one thing that came in my mind, because I work with a lot of companies on loyalty front. So we have a platform called Almond Rewards, and Rewards actually does a lot of loyalty gratifications to employees and channel partners, and all those sort of people who get benefited from you know earning loyalty points, etc. So like you use a bank card on which you swipe, you get some coins or points, and then you can go and redeem this. My thought is, and I've been always talking about this on various forums, that more than the physical possessions or things that you can buy or use, I think one great trend that has to come is rewarding health, which is very interesting right now. And rewarding health could be, it can as easy as giving a gym membership. It is as easy as giving a membership of Apollo Preventive Health platform, or as easy as right now we are working with a very large FMCG giant worldwide, and for their driver safety training they give a small health insurance or accidental insurance to their drivers who drive their trucks. And that's a very innovative way of encouraging their own safety, right? And health is a safety, all of these things. What we have seen, that when we start rewarding health to people, their perception about the brands or companies have changed dramatically, right? And very positively, because they also feel that when a brand or an employer is rewarding health, they are concerned about your health and wellness. They are not just concerned about your,
Abs-
concerned about your happiness. They are also, health, wellness, and happiness, all the three of things. So I definitely, or a lot of listeners who are listening to us on various platforms, and this will be also sent through various emails, and this video is getting published on various media platforms later on. I want to highlight that these kind of things are very interesting. While we can always give rewards of redeem thousands of points and get an iPhone. That's always good, no doubt on that. That digitization has also given us opportunity that redeem hundreds of points and probably get 100 rupees instant Paytm cashback. Well, companies like us have been doing this for years. Now the new trend is coming that how do you make sure that you reward health? And I think the program like Apollo Preventive Health subscription or something like this, I don't know, I'll have to speak to you in detail about this, but could be also rewarded as a gift to employees or gift to their channel partners, distributors, whosoever it is. So I will definitely take a note here and make sure that if something like this come up, that's a very great and interesting thing that can be done. Now, sir, the second point that I
Please.
particularly, yeah, please go ahead,
No, no, please
Satya.
go ahead.
Okay.
So I was
So,
saying, Abhinav, it's a novel idea and it's a brilliant idea. Yes, once you reward people, people feel good about it, and once you are rewarding them for health, it's even better.
no, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, there is a company that I know of. Um, they are actually now speaking to us as becoming one of their partners in India, particularly because we have a great loyalty and reward platform. That we work with some of the brightest brands and largest corporates in India. What they're saying is that they have a platform which actually only gives health and wellness related coupons for the employees. So every company has some budget, right? The budget could be, say,
Yes.
1,000 rupees a month. That's a small budget, or probably some big companies have 10,000 rupees a month of budget for employees' perks, right? And employee could go onto their portal and probably, because they have this budget, they can every month go and buy something. It could be any subscription, it could be OTT subscription or a movie player subscription or a movie ticket or anything. But now what these companies have come and they've got a massive valuation is that they only give subscription of health related services, right? And these, most of them are preventive health related services, right? Like getting a free test done, free cap checkup done, free diabetes camp, free yoga camp. And that's a very beautiful way of rewarding your own people. So I think at a corporate level, it is a great opportunity if we could, and I'm just envisioning, dreaming of this, if something like this can be done. But I am sure that I have seen that preventive health is extremely important. And let me also tell you one more thing. So I go for checkup, and of course going beyond before checkup is a very scary situation. But when you see your reports and everything is good, well, let me tell you, there is no better feeling than that, right? And that's very
Absolutely.
important, that people should also see that even if you find out a problem with a something, a vitamin is less or something, you can always prevent it in future and probably procure it. So that's extremely
Absolutely.
interesting. Yeah. So
Absolutely. You are absolutely right.
yes, yes. So another thing, and probably we are running out of time. We are also getting some questions, so we will also take a small question and all. But you talked about health. What can you define? What is a good health? There is physical, there is mental, there is I don't know, hundreds of things which are happening. There are specialists who are talking about some outstanding health activities and all. What do you think is actually a good health? Like, what is a good health?
Okay. So as I said, Abhinav, earlier also, it is, good health is something which is physically you are fit, physically you are good, internally you are good, mentally you are good, you are happy. Overall, the overall, feeling of not only physically being fit, but also how good, how mental health condition is. What is your mental health condition? What is your stress level? And I can say rather in a different way, what is your happiness score? So
Very
that is
interesting.
something which you can measure. What is your happiness score? Are you happy? How 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 good is your health? Because if your health is not good, you are not happy. You may
Hmm.
have the best of the body, you may have a V-shaped body or whatever you call, you may have the abs, six pack, etc., but that doesn't help. That
Hmm.
helps. When I say that doesn't help, means that doesn't help in knowing what is happening internally.
Hmm.
You may be still sick, you may still have
Yeah.
a blockage in your heart, and you may not know it despite having a six pack.
Yeah.
So it's not about just fitness. Good health is all about internally being good, mentally being good, and of course being happy. So that is how we would, or I would rather say what is good health.
Very interesting. I think that's very important, and especially for people like us who are into technology and probably planning out things which are more on the outer side of the health. It is very important that we also find peace inside, and when the physical meets the inner soul, and that's where you actually create a good
Absolutely.
ecosystem. So it's quite interesting the way how insider's view on the health is, and I am calling you insider because you have been on the other side of this line throughout the COVID. And I'm sure ke, while everyone is saying doctors are the life saviors, they are, but there is a team that works with doctors that starts from every tune to watchman to a nurse to everyone, right? And operational staff and all. And so I also feel that while you were heading operations, and in last 2 years I've seen constantly, and we were in touch to understand how are things changing and how are things moving further. So I feel that, and especially what I've seen, that over the last 2.5 years, Apollo needs no introduction in the world right now. But over the last 2 years, I've seen that the way how they have amalgamated technology into their general and operational ecosystem, that's amazing, right? And I am hoping that this is part of some strategic initiative internally which is being discussed. So as a head of operation, Satya sir, where do you think, where is it heading? Like where the future of healthcare is? Is it going to be 100% digital? Is it going to be automation? Is it going to be VR? What do you think of it? Like, because metaverse has come into picture, and I am a metaverse enthusiast, and I want to talk more about it. But things are changing. I have a friend who lives in Silicon Valley, and he runs a small company which is in creating medical trainings through metaverse ecosystem, right? So they say that a lot of things were happening where a physician or a surgeon had to literally go and see things before they could see that happening. But now with the VR, AR, and even sometimes without any of these gadgets, they're making these trainings and all happen. What are your thoughts like? And probably this is a question that is also aligned with what comment that has come. So if you want to share any,
Yeah.
insights.
So Abhinav, you already mentioned all of it actually, and we are all of it. I mean, see, it cannot be 100% digital all the time. There has to be physical, there has to be digital, there has to be technology, there has to be a combination of everything. So while the fact is that the infrastructure, the hospital, the doctors, the equipment, the surgeries remain, but how it has evolved is the technology, as you rightly said. Today, doing a surgery which was probably some 30 years or 50 years back was taking 12 hours may now be just reduced to 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of technology that has come, the robotic surgery that has come, the robotic assisted surgery is more precise, more accurate, with less of blood loss,
Hmm.
and more of accuracy, more of prediction. The doctor exactly knows where the knife is going to hit,
Wow.
where exactly it is going to point. So that level of accuracy, and that is again coming back to your question, the cost.
Yeah.
you know Everything is related to that. So you can have a surgery which is with the minimal loss of blood, with the minimal scar, and with the most accurate thing. The doctor is super confident that yes, exactly this is what is going to happen. So a lot of predictions, a lot of confidence has been. It's not that the entire things has changed, but then how much you are become confident and how much more predictive things have become because of technology, how remotely things can be done. So today a doctor sitting in US or Chennai or Delhi can just do an operation somewhere else in the world through a robotic assisted technology. So those kind of things are huge leaps in the medical field that has happened.
Hmm.
And it always will be a combination of everything. It cannot be just one single thing, but it will be always a combination. And
Yeah.
we always Apollo has always been the pioneer whenever it comes to technology, equipment, or any new thing that is coming up elsewhere. You
Correct.
know, so that is where we are still headed in preventive health. Also, now we have something called DPEX, with which a person can wear it's HoloLens, with a person can wear, and based on his health data, you know he can see actually a 3D image of his heart, how it is going to be, what are the
Wow.
challenges. Yes, exactly. So he is more aware, about what is happening and what are the things that may happen. So those are the technologies where we are working, and we are absolutely want the technology to be our driver in across all the field, because that is going to be the future. That is the future. We are already into it.
We are
So
already in future now.
we are already there. So there's no denying it. Adapting technology and moving ahead is the way forward in every field, including healthcare. The sooner
And
you adopt, the better it is.
yeah, so I think that's a perfect way to summarize the session. The sooner you adopt, the better it is. And that's not just about technology; it's also about health, best practices, or
Absolutely.
anything. A lot of people are afraid of making sure that you know um, their tests are done and their medical fitness is checked. And so I want to definitely encourage everyone, saying that these kind of things that people should be more considerate about. And of course, I don't have to say that Apollo has this large scale program that they're working, and I know that it's one of the best in the industry. So I would definitely like to highlight that if there is anything that can be done, Mr. Satyajit Mitra is the man to go. Especially you can give my reference if you want to do. However, he'll not give you any discount on that though. So, I think it was a very good conversation, Satyajit sir. I think what I feel, not just preventive health, technology is going to play a very pivotal role in next decade, not just couple of years, and the way how things are moving, considering whether we talk about VR, AR, which helps you understand what's happening within your body and can help you visualize. Of course, when you visualize, you see better, you have a better picture of what's happening inside and why you have to either take a quick decision or, okay, chalta hai wala attitude. That's very important. And second is technology is also going to play a very important role in other things as well. When I say automation, when I say robotic processing, when I say AI and all of those things, so the sooner the better, you know the healthier. So with that, Satyajit sir, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I think we have done a couple of minutes over our expected duration, but it is so insightful talking to you. And I feel that there are a couple of questions which are still coming, but I'll just let them send let the team send those to you over email, so that if you find any of these I'm interested. I also have a question which is coming from a startup, which I'll also align with you later on. So with that, I think it was extremely insightful. Preventive health is something which is extremely, extremely important, and people should be more careful about their own wellness, which I think COVID has anyways taught that, and we are in that surge of healthcare wave that we are part of. So with that, I will sign off, and thank you so much, Satyajit sir, and we will hope to probably invite you for one more session, because this isn't enough, and the next session sooner the better. So with
Thank
that,
you. Thanks a lot, Abhinav ji. It was a real pleasure talking to you, and I'm really honored to be in your platform, and happy to always come back and definitely interact much more and learn a lot of things from you as well.
great. Thank you so much. With that, I'll just ask the panel to quickly show the Almond Vertex on which the platform is being broadcasted, and there are a lot more people who are also watching it on various other platforms. Over to you, the admin team.